A new era is born. We are into a new podcast, the Big Pick Podcast. It's a better name, short, quick, to the point, and I'm joined by my friends, the two Bills, Mr. Bill, the sample man, highly irritated, and Mr. Chicken, Bill the Fajita. What's going on, guys?
Hey.
Nice to chat with you guys again.
Yes, we're back with the new with after some rebranding, and we're in the preseason edition of the podcast. So we are not into our what's going to eventually become our weekly routine. We do have a little bit of news concerning one of the teams from our group, Earl Thomas. Chicken, you mind telling us what happened with your boy?
Before we go any further, because we're rebranding the pod, do we want people knowing what our three teams are, just reminding them off the bat?
Indeed.
Oh, sure. I'm for the Houston Texans.
I am for the Detroit Lions, no matter how much it...
And I, Bill the Fajita, of course, love the Seattle Seahawks, the only correct team to love.
Oh, you want to go, mate? As you know, What?
Oh, I thought we were going to jump right into the
Oh, yeah.
Earl shenanigans.
Oh, man.
Basically, no news is good news. And Earl is doing a whole lot of crybabying over the whole, trade me or pay me. Well, guess what, Earl? You're going to stay put, baby doll. And you're going to play this season, boy. And then you can go somewhere else and win another team a championship.
I say play well for the first half of the season, because come the trade deadline, you play good. Good old Jerry boy will overpay for you. Like, Chicken, if you had to trade him right now, what do you think the pick would be for him? Like, realistically.
What's he worth?
Yes.
What's he worth? Oh, God.
What's he worth?
Yes.
At least a second.
Well, guess what? The Cowboys would probably give him a first-round player, or a first-round pick, and probably a player, too.
The concern is he's 29, but he's a safety, and safeties age well.
Right.
Yep, and they have no safeties.
So he's still in the middle of his prime.
He's in the middle of his prime. The one caveat is you don't know how long these players stay in the league anymore, because a lot of them are retiring right around 30.
Right.
So that...
I mean, look at
he
DeMarco.
He might be at retirement age right now.
Yep. Well, it depends on his
DeMarco
injury
just
history.
retired.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I feel bad for DeMarco on one hand, but I mean, he wasn't going to get a better deal with another team that would have been better. I think he was meant for Dallas. Personally,
he's old in football years, but especially for a running back position.
But Frank Gore is old for years.
Well, the difference is he stayed healthier than your boy DeMarco Murray.
That's true.
And besides, DeMarco Murray was shielded behind that offensive line, meaning he could actually perform a few more risks for better rewards than, say, Philly's offensive line at the time, which now it's better, but, it wasn't that good back then, or as good as the Super Bowl champs offensive line, which somehow got better as it lost starters. I don't know how that works. But anyway, so we'll talk about Philly later, because there's a particular segment for that, a little tease for later today. But all in all, I feel like if any team's going to try and go for Earl Thomas, it may be the Cowboys. Jerry Jones does like loyalty and faith towards him. He likes his ego stroked.
Right.
But if not, he'll go leave in free agency and probably sign with Dallas.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, because he did say he wants to play for a Texas team, but it's Dallas. It's like people say in basketball, I want to play for LA. You don't mean the Clippers. You do not mean the Clippers. Unless you're trying to make a shit ton of money for a year, you don't mean them.
I think it would be foolhardy to equate the Houston Texans with the Clippers. Who's to say that the Clippers...
No, because everyone likes the Cowboys. The Texans are a new team, and they haven't really... How do I put it? I don't think they've established anything... Well, I feel like they're doing better than the Clippers have at their pace when you compare their starts, but
Right.
everyone
yeah.
recognizes Dallas. It's like the top 3 franchises in not the NBA in all of America are the Yankees, the Lakers, and the Cowboys. They're the big 3. They make the most money. It's even if we don't like them, it's a fact. They make so much money.
I hate them so much.
I do too, but they do make a lot of money. I cannot deny that, which is math doesn't lie, even if I hate math. But anyway, we're getting a little off track. So yeah, how do you feel overall, Chicken? I mean I heard the comments earlier, but rationally, what would you want to do as if you were GM of the Seahawks?
Do what I can to keep Earl. He's a generational talent. At the end of the day, I mean, he's Earl goddamn Thomas.
Yeah,
He's
the whole
the
Legion of Boom should be its own ring of honor.
He's the best safety in this league since Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu.
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
man, I miss those players so much. They were pretty good for their time. But yeah, anyway, we have newer, younger talent, filling in those shoes as best they can. Like my boy Honey Badger, my new favorite animal, by the way. But let's move on to something. Let's stay with the Seahawks, actually. Unless you guys have any other news you want to talk about, up to you.
What else has happened over the last
Darrell
little
Revis
while?
retired.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, Darrell Revis is out for good. He's gone. He was actually
Revis Island.
Yeah, Revis Island was. Remember, Hopkins ended Revis's career with that game. That one game when everyone's like Revis is on top of his game still.
Listen, let's be real. Revis mentally retired after he got his ring with New England.
Yeah.
He never tried again since then.
Right.
Yeah.
He just collected a paycheck from the New York Jets again.
And he wanted to finish with his team, but the team didn't want him after Hopkins just ended his career.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, he's still a very good cornerback. Probably one of the better ones or the best ones of the 21st century. That's for sure. But some people pointed out that he is part of the reason why cornerbacks get more pay than they did in the past compared to how they did in the past. Which, hey, if a position gets the respect it deserves, then who am I to complain?
True that.
Yep. Anyway, let's move on. Unless you guys have other news, because we have a record prediction to make.
Ooh. I don't.
We maybe set with news.
I think we're good.
All right then. So let's talk some record predictions. So it's different compared to how it used to be on the Football Talks podcast, where Mr. Bill and I would talk about our teams and go compare. We would each have the floor, talk about all 16 games, say which one they won, which one they lost, and then switch over. It's different. Today we're talking about one team only. Chickens, Seahawks. This is the Seahawks podcast for the day.
Holla.
But so Chicken's gonna go run through the team or each game, and if we disagree, we're gonna mention it. And at the end of the day, or at the end of the segment, we're all gonna tally our win-loss record, say where they're gonna be, and if they make the playoffs, what type? Like generally, is it like a wild card? Is it a divisional round? Or you get a bye week, whatever. Something like that,
Right.
All right. So, Chicken, start us off week 1.
All right. So week 1, the Seahawks going to travel to the Broncos. Opening week. Hypes. You know what? Seattle's famous at starting slow. So this final score is going to be a defensive slugfest, by the way. I don't trust Case Keenum at all. And I don't really trust John that much, but I don't trust Seattle very much either. I think the offense is going to need a little time to gel. I think the Broncos win a close one, like a 13-10. Seattle takes an L on the road week 1.
I agree, actually. I feel like Russell Wilson will run for his life.
Absolutely.
I have them losing as well week 1.
Vaughn and Chubb, come on.
I feel like Von Miller has a belly in his flame for losing that Super Bowl.
He definitely has a belly in his flame. Maybe even a flame in his belly.
Yeah, besides, I feel like if anything, the only way I see the Broncos scoring a big-time touchdown is, like, no fly zone, gets a pick six.
Right, it'll be a defensive score, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, Case Keenum, and the other thing is it's the first week and it's at altitude as well. So both sets of players are going.
I will tell you this: until your bye week, all your games, or almost all your games, are on the road, which is yikes for the
we'll get to
Seahawks.
that. Don't you worry. Because on September 17th, the Seahawks travel to Soldier Field for a night game in Seattle, plus a night game usually equals a win. The Bears are still a very young and inexperienced team. Russell Wilson is a goddamn maestro. They're going to shake off that week 1 loss and beat the Chicago Bears.
I've got no qualms with that. I feel like the Bears are very overrated.
I also agree. I think the Bears are vastly overrated, and they're trying to make Mitchell Trubisky into Carson Wentz when Mitchell Trubisky is closer to Dak Prescott, maybe.
To be fair, we did see a big jump from Jared Goff year 1 to Jared Goff year 2.
Yep.
That is true. I'll give you that.
So I'll hold reservation until we see them play.
Yeah, but I feel like it's too soon for people to be hyping it up.
I'm thinking that he's on being closer to Dak because he's closer as a quarterback to Dak than he is to Carson Wentz.
I feel like he's closer to Blake Bortles, personally. I know it's rude.
September 23rd is Earl Thomas's Prove It game. Earl Thomas is tired of all these trade rumors. He's got fire in the belly. He's got belly in the fire. He's going to look Dak Prescott in the eyes, and he's going to take one home for the Hawks. Remind everybody who he plays for as the Seahawks win in a 24-13 comfortable win over the Cowboys.
Well, remember, this team was the very team that was responsible for eliminating the Cowboys' hopes for playoff contention. Not that they really stood a chance anyway.
Right.
I agree with that assessment. I think Cowboys are also vastly overrated, and they're going to get stomped. Personally.
The next week. So, the Cardinals and Seahawks have always, historically, traded wins at each other's venues. I'm not going to change that today. The Seahawks will win in Arizona, but they'll lose in Seattle in Week 17. So I'm just going to mark that down.
I disagree, only for the fact that I think it's just they're gonna win in their own venues instead of the other teams.
You trying to tell me that Sammy Biscuits is gonna run the show?
I don't know. These Seahawks games, remember the tie game. Everyone thought that the Seahawks were gonna blow the doors on them, but the Cardinals, I don't know.
It's a divisional game.
It is.
I'm willing.
And Chandler Jones can eat Russell Wilson alive.
You know what though? I'm gonna put each divisional opponent as a 1-to-1 commodity. I'm not gonna lie.
At this point, you kind of have to, especially since the other two teams we're going to talk about later are, very improved.
The win will be in Week 4 against the Cardinals, not Week 17, because that's how the Seahawks always do it. Week 5 against the Rams. We'll lose. They're good. They're real good. But we're mad. But they'll still win. Seahawks take the L, hosting the Rams. The Rams are so good.
I actually have the Seahawks winning this somehow.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
I think they're gonna. I actually think the Seahawks are gonna split with every one of their rivals.
I agree.
I disagree with Josh. I agree with Chicken or Bill. I agree with him. I have them losing to the Rams Week 5.
It's fair. Yeah. I mean, mine is basically kind of an upset of the week type of pick.
That would be an upset of the week.
Besides, Remember,
the Rams getting
when
6.
when everyone thought the Rams were gonna like crush the Seahawks at home, and the Seahawks end up taking that from them.
Oh my
That's
God,
why I'm like,
what a
I just
game.
need. That's just to me a reminder. It's like these games are there.
They're not as
It's mental
predictable as-
chess. It's a mental chess game.
Absolutely.
But what's the next
So-
game?
So in jolly old England, the Raiders will be hosting the Seahawks.
Oh, it's also, hey, remember, Beast Mode Revenge game.
Please. Please. It's also the John Gruden's farewell tour because he's going to get fired by the end of the year.
Yikes.
Raiders get smoked by the Seahawks.
I don't
I
think
don't
I have
think
much
they-
qualm for that. This isn't
Seahawks
even
win.
a home game for the Raiders.
24-14.
Oh, and they reach a bye week.
I've got
Well,
them.
yeah, because London, dog.
Well,
this may be the most
didn't one
contested-
team play like right after London though? If the Raiders
probably the
wanted to,
Jaguars, 'cause
if the Raiders
they're
wanted to win, they should have played in Mexico City where they can bring their those big you know that
Shit, they might-
those you press a button and a laser light comes out. Should have brought one of
little
those.
laser pointers.
Yes, like what they did to Brock Osweiler.
There we go.
Oh man, here we go.
Oh, it's a
Week
good
8,
one.
After the bye week, we got a little point of contention here.
Golden Tate revenge game.
All right, we've already played the Lions, and frankly, it's a batted the ball out of the back of the end zone revenge game too.
Oh, trust me, Chicken. Your
Oh.
team has gotten quite a couple lucky breaks against Detroit over the past couple years, and you know it.
The Lions have gone back and forth with Seattle pretty evenly.
No, you know what I mean? The one time the refs fuck it all up and ignore an obvious call. Mr. Bill, can you bring up a
Yeah.
couple?
Yes, Monday Night Football. I remember.
Yeah,
I was
that whole Monday night.
that whole year was bad for the Lions, though.
That whole season with the referees.
And it's about to get worse. No, with Ed Hockley gone.
Where Dallas did some mean things to the Lions too.
Yeah, that was that same goddamn year.
Exactly.
That's why every Sunday it's always trending in Detroit. It's Detroit versus everybody, and that's what always trends in this town because the refs always constantly fuck something up.
I mean, that may as well be the title of next week's podcast, Detroit versus everybody.
That said,
Possibly.
I think Seattle might be able to squeak this one out, but it'll be close.
I disagree. I have the Lions winning. I don't know. I feel like the Lions are at least going to be playoff contention worthy. How far, I'm not sure.
I disagree as well. I'm higher on my Lions than probably both of you combined. And
Lions
look
do have
at-
a much improved O-line this year.
yeah.
They do. It just
they-
needs to
they-
stay healthy.
They if they can stay together and gel, they weren't gelled last year.
Maybe
They
if
have
Carry
ta-
on can put in some work.
Carry on Johnson is going to be he's going to be the next Jordan Howard. A very similar running back style,
Yeah.
I think.
I think Amir
I could see
Abdullah is
that.
going to be playing a little better too by this point.
Amir, you know what? No, we're not giving Amir Abdullah the football anymore. He's fumbled enough. He can just leave. If he's playing in that game against Seattle, I'm immediately calling a loss.
If he wins the game against Seattle, I'm going to have to call you out on this quote, Bill.
If you could even put it on Twitter and you could put it for Cold Takes Exposed and all that fun shit. If Amir Abdullah is carrying the football in that Seattle game, we are going to lose.
You know
That's
that this
fair.
game has more playoff implications, at the very least, for a wild card opportunity for both these teams.
Probably.
Very possible.
But Chicken, I will say, after the bye week, pretty much the rest of the
It's a rough-
season,
it's
the rest of the
tough sledding.
season is just quality matchups on paper.
Yeah, it's tough sledding. So week 9, Seattle faces the Chargers in Seattle. It's a 4:00 game. Chargers are a real good team, and they're going to hand it to the Hawks. So Seahawks will lose that game.
I agree, actually.
Agree.
Rams. Now this one's in LA, which means they don't have the home field advantage. which is weird because it doesn't make sense. But Seattle fans travel well, especially on the West Coast.
Yep.
I think it's possible that the Seahawks steal one from the Rams.
I remember I already gave him the win against the Rams earlier at home. I'm not going to give it to him again.
I gave him the L before.
I stupidly gave the Rams both games. So I disagree, but I can see the Rams losing that game.
Divisional games, you almost have to throw out like records and paper matchups.
Oh yeah.
I just give it to the home team most of the time to be safe, unless we're talking like a bad team like the Browns or something.
It's like a Packers-Bears game. You just give it to.
Well, remember,
Packers
Green Bay pretty much
immediately.
owns Soldier Field. It's a second home turf for them.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers,
Ooh.
did you know on November 15th in Week 11 he's flying to the Pacific Northwest to meet up with Russell Wilson in a quality game of football?
Oh boy.
Oh
To be
man.
aired on Amazon Prime Video exclusively.
Ooh.
And also NFL Network, maybe? Who knows?
Apparently
Looks like
Fox as well.
Looks like a Thursday night football matchup.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thursday night football in Seattle. Players are not well rested. I mean, Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, who the fuck knows, man? But the Packers have had Russell Wilson's number pretty much like the last two matchups. However, they changed defensive coordinators.
Right.
So the Packers are going to win.
I agree. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going
I-
to destroy this secondary now.
Hey,
I
Ron
agree.
Rodgers.
I agree, but I don't think anyone's gonna play any defense, and it's gonna be like a 52-45 game.
Right. I think it'll be like kind of like last year's shootout with Houston and Seattle.
Yeah.
I could see something like a huge shootout like that happening. Because we still have Earl Thomas, but they have Micah Hyde.
Yep. And literally no one else.
They don't have.
Yeah, literally.
They don't. I mean, remember their chances to score may lessen because they don't have Jordy Nelson. Like, where's the flag? I'm gonna miss making fun of that now.
Oh,
He has
where's-
Randall Cobb.
yeah. I mean, to be
And
fair.
Devontae Parker.
Oh yeah. And Geronimo.
Geronimo Allison.
Exactly, Geronimo. He
Oh,
came
oh,
on
wait,
it.
His name is Geronimo. All right.
Oh man.
November 25th. We're talking mere days after Turkey Day. Bellies are full. 1 o'clock Eastern time. Zones are shifted. Seattle has to wake up mad the fuck early on a Sunday to squeak out a 9-6 win over the Panthers. Because that's how every goddamn Seattle Panthers game works.
It's either a close, boring game or it's a shootout. You can never have an in between.
Yeah.
I disagree though. So based on what I've been saying, I have the Seahawks losing 5 straight. Yikes!
I sadly disagree as well, but I mean, legitimately with Cam Newton throwing the football, you never know what Cam Newton you're gonna get. So.
Yeah, but I just don't trust some pieces of the Seahawks. I'm not counting Russell Wilson, by the way. He's carrying. He's the carrier.
Oh, Russ is carrying, for sure.
Oh yeah.
So December. It takes until December for Russ to rematch with Richard Sherman, who's been running his little bitch-ass mouth all off season. Seattle Seahawks have lost their way. They didn't give me a contract I wanted. Jimmy GQ is so handsome, I want him to put his member in my mouth.
Well, he's not wrong about the handsome part. Jimmy G could
Jimmy
get with
GQ
anyone
is
he
a
wants.
beautiful man. He is beautiful. But guess what? That beauty stops on December 2nd as Russell Wilson.
What are you gonna do? Murder him?
Listen, 49ers still don't have a ton of talent on that defense. It's overall a mediocre roster. I think that the Seahawks are a better team right now than the 49ers.
I will say, their
Jimmy G is
defensive
unproven.
players are slowly rising that they drafted over the past couple of years, because they drafted a couple defensive ends.
Can their linebackers stop hitting women?
Hey, well, to be fair, that seems to be a Bay Area trend. Just go ask Oakland.
Oof. Shots fired, Oakland.
Well, hey, they're both right across from each other, so or 40 miles apart technically. The Niners are really the Santa Clara 49ers.
That's fair.
But I
We'll
agree. I have the Niners losing to the Seahawks.
I also have the Niners losing to the Seahawks in Week 13 as well.
Because well,
yeah.
go ahead.
I just think the Seahawks, they're gonna be fired up for this matchup.
Well, I think both sides are. But I feel like the Niners or the Rams, one of them is going to disappoint us. I think because there's a lot of NFC teams that everyone's like, these guys are all Super Bowl contenders. But
the 49ers are the most overrated NFC West team in the.
They're like the Bears.
Yeah.
But they have a better quarterback.
You know what though?
I'm.
Tell me something. Tell me some statistics that Jimmy GQ has besides wins that prove to me that he is a hair above the rest when it comes to being
he did
superstar
do it. I think Mitch Trubisky hasn't played the Jaguars defense yet. Fuck.
That's true. Jimmy G did light up the Jaguars defense.
He did beat them in a close match. It wasn't easy, but he did it. Not many quarterbacks, especially his age, can brag that they beat that really good defense and actually humbled Jalen Ramsey. Considering what his offense was made up of, because remember, they started losing players over the season, and he still pulled that off. That's to me his defining feat, and me thinking, yes, this man is for real.
I still don't believe
I'm pretty sure after that game, every straight female out there just screamed, "Put a baby in me, Jimmy."
I'm pretty sure he's dating a porn star.
He could date whoever the hell he wants, to be honest. And no one will complain.
Right. He's Jimmy goddamn GQ.
I'm pretty like his mentor Tom Brady. He's gonna go marry like the hottest and most richest model that he can get away with, and that's it.
The end. Yeah. Duh.
All right, chicken. Let's go on to the cold, because we're entering December. We're deeper December.
Yeah, but this is also in Seattle, where the Seahawks will have an L handed to them by the Minnesota Vikings. That team is so complete, so good, and they're not the Philadelphia Eagles, so the Seahawks can't just embarrass them for no reason.
I agree. But hey, at least it won't be because of a kicker's fault this time.
That's true. That's true.
I swear, if that actually happens, I will come back to this podcast and play that to Old Takes Exposed. Do you disagree, Bill?
I can't disagree with the Vikings winning that game. That Vikings team is legitimately a practical.
I really think Vikings-Eagles will be the same NFC championship match again.
Hopefully it won't be such a snooze fest.
Yeah, I think that will be a much closer game this time.
I think the Packers still have a chance of having a better record. Vikings.
I think the Vikings could absolutely shit on Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, they're not have a healthy Delvin Cook.
When's the last time the Vikings shit on Aaron Rodgers?
When Brett Favre was there.
All right. So in 2009.
Yeah. Hey, it's been a while. They need something to feel good about against them.
All right. It's been 9 years.
Kirk Cousins is an upgrade, no matter who they had at quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers owns Minnesota.
Well, to be fair, he owns the entire NFC North.
On December 16th now, anyway.
When has Aaron Rodgers ever been locked out or swept by a divisional rival? That's a stat someone should look up.
It doesn't happen. Even if it did happen, it never happened. All right. Week 15. Seattle travels to Santa Clara. Now, here's something that may blow your fucking mind. You know how I said each team's going to go 1-1 in their division? Well, I'm going to give Seattle a loss here. Because you win one, you lose one. It makes sense.
I agree.
Though in my heart, I believe that the Seahawks can beat the 49ers both times.
Yeah. I also agree with that statement as well.
Yeah. It's not like Jimmy's going to get more handsome over 2 weeks. Come on. Ridiculous.
All right, can we stop for a moment? I need to make a phone call.
Uh-oh.
What?
All right, I'm back. And I disagree. Despite how I said I feel like they're going to split, I think that they're actually going to beat the Niners twice.
I love you. I love you.
But I'm pretty sure Mr. Bill is going to pick that the Seahawks lose.
I have the Seahawks losing, yes.
Well, considering this, I gave them 5 losses in a row, 2 before the bye, and then this one, they're now at 8 losses.
Oof. Oof. Well, guess what? Guess what? You know what team is not as good as the Seahawks? I don't care what anybody bad that talking about Chiefs. With a rookie quarterback, we don't know how good Pat Mahomes is going to be. He could be a piece of dookie. The Seahawks are going to win at home. It's the home closer. No, it's not.
No,
It's
you
the
finish.
home night game closer. Christmas Eve. Seattle's going to bring that one home, baby. They need it.
I agree. I think they'll win.
I agree. Yep, I agree as well.
I think
but
this will be the
I think
closest game of their season.
I think Kansas City is going to be an 8-8 team at best.
I think they're going to be a 9-7 team. So basically, they're going to keep it close for a while.
And last but not least, my.
Well, you already
Arizona
said what
Cardinals.
was going to happen here.
The Seahawks will drop an untimely loss,
Just
The
like
Cardinals.
last year.
just like last year.
How times have changed. Well, I said they were going to lose to the Cardinals earlier, and they're going to win this one to close out the season. Close out the season with 2 Ws.
And I've got them winning as well, finishing out the season with 2 Ws as well.
All right,
my
so
final record-
how does that add up for all you guys?
my final record for the Seahawks, and this is a way too early prediction, of course, but I'm going to say 9-7.
I say 8-8. Those 5 losses in a row after the bye, yikes.
And if according to my math is correct, it's 7-9. But given how the season
Russell
is,
Wilson having his first ever losing season.
very possible. But you never know.
It's true.
Yeah. All right then. Now that we're done with that, let's move on to the fun segment. I like this one. Interstate rivalry, guys. We're going to talk about, for these 3 preseasons, we're going to pick 3 states. One of them is from one of my teams. The other 2 are ones that I think will be closer and more interesting to watch. Sorry, New York fans, and sorry, Florida fans. There's not
Sorry,
much
Northern
competition.
California fans.
Like, sure, we could talk about Jacksonville's defense all day, but what? The Dolphins or the Buccaneers are going to threaten them? Please.
More like the Succaneers, am I right?
Ouch. And as
How
for
does
New
one
York,
state have 3 teams in 3 different divisions?
As-
Riddle me that.
as for New York, I don't even know if the Giants will be great. They could be great if things click perfectly, but if not, oh boy. Odell Beckham can't save your ass from that. But so we're going to talk about another East Coast state, Pennsylvania. Some people forget this, but Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania or Philadelphia are in Pennsylvania.
Also known as the world's worst state to drive through.
Yikes. Yeah, at least
Some
Texas
say
is
you
open.
can raise a family, send a kid off to college, grow old and die in the time it takes to drive from New York to Ohio.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad I live in Texas.
That's even worse of a state
It's a nice
to
small
drive through.
state.
No, I mean traveling. The traffic, as long as you're not going into the cities, you'll be fine.
Fair enough.
Basically, going from city to city, not that big of a problem. It's maybe when you're in the city, but to be fair, you could argue every city has traffic issues, because that's how a city works. Sad to say.
Can we talk about the 2 cities at hand, namely Philadelphia and Pittsburgh?
Yes, one that, we have the Steel Curtain, and the one that finally got a ring.
Philly special.
Alright, so here's how this segment's going to work. We're going to talk about 3 criterias, and we're going to base our judgment on who do we think is the better team of the state. And we're not predicting records or playoffs. We're just going off the team comp and who do we think will be or is the better team of the state. So we all got those grounds established. So
Yeah.
let's go into it. Our 3 categories are offensive composition, defensive composition, and the head coach or coaching staff, whatever you prefer.
Coaching staff, baby.
Yep.
Coach and staff.
All right. So let's go into offensive composition. Obviously, this includes the quarterback, which is a big factor in determining who's the better one. You got your wide receivers, running backs, offensive linemen, tight ends. There you go. So let's start with the quarterback position. I don't think it's much of a no-brainer in who's the better QB right now.
Obviously, the man who just won a Super Bowl by challenging Tom Brady and winning. As your backup, I think we can say the Philadelphia Eagles have the best quarterback situation in the NFL.
They do have the best quarterback situation, but among starting QBs, because Nick Foles ain't starting.
Oh, you kidding me?
Carson Wentz and
Big Ben.
Big Ben.
Big Ben is not as good as Carson Wentz is anymore.
Really? What do
Yeah,
you
I
think?
I agree. I agree.
I'm staying with Big Ben, but by a hair's edge. I mean, Carson
Big
Wentz is
Ben
only going to
runs
get better.
4 games a season with a foot injury.
Well, remember, I did not like that Tom Brady won the MVP because if Carson Wentz played the whole season, he would have won it, and plus that would have given the MVP curse. It would have struck the Eagles because
the
Tom
season
Brady
would play
won the fucking MVP award. That's why they lost. MVP curse.
I'm just put it out there though. Between Ben Roethlisberger and Carson Wentz right now, we just said the number one reason why he's the better quarterback right now. He was an MVP candidate.
He was on pace to have
Last
the
year.
most quarterbacks or most touchdowns thrown last year.
Exactly.
If only
The only
did,
reason
if
Russ won
hey,
is
if we're
because
gonna go by that
Watson
argument,
was
technically, if Watson stayed the whole season, he would have just blown the doors on
All
that.
right. Let's not extrapolate over a 6-game blip in the radar. Let's focus on the teams at hand.
I mean, with a Super Bowl team around him, he was shining brightly on a team that was shining brightly. He was one of the reasons why they were so successful. And to have a capable backup on their team, that's far and away. It just
There couldn't be a better quarterback situation in Philadelphia or any other team in the NFL.
exactly.
Yep. All right, then let's move on to running backs. I don't think this is much of a no-brainer between Bell and
It's Le'Veon Bell. Come on,
Yeah,
he's
Le'Veon.
Le'Veon freaking Bell.
yeah, even though he
Yep.
wants to just do rap songs instead, but right now he's the better. And wide receivers, I also don't think this is much of a no-brainer.
Well, back to the running backs. The starting running back for the Eagles right now is Jay Ajayi.
That's pretty good, but Bell's better.
And he's not bad. Plus, they have that Corey Clement kid.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I think they have an underrated use of talent. Plus, Darren Sproles is coming back.
Yeah.
yep.
Well, we don't know how
like-
good he'll be because he's coming off a major
But-
injury. Major injuries,
Right,
I
but
should
as
say.
Just like when you have the best running back in the NFL, you win.
And besides, Bell has been getting much more healthier, I think, for his sake at least. But there's more to it than that. For wide receivers, I think this one's also a no-brainer.
Nelson Aguilar is the greatest wide receiver of all time. It's Antonio Brown.
And
Yeah.
Antonio Brown,
And
the best. The
And
best.
Juju-
Wait.
Juju, between the two teams, Juju may be the second best wide receiver.
oh yeah, by a long shot.
But
I mean,
Antonio
Alshon's
Brown,
good.
as much as his ego is annoying, he is the best wide receiver right now until stated otherwise. But Nuke's coming for him.
Right.
But right now, I think Antonio Brown alone is enough of a reason to just say that the Steelers have the edge.
right.
Offensive
Now
line,
with
though,
offensive line.
that goes to the Eagles.
Yeah. O-line
Oh,
goes
yeah.
to Philly.
Very
Damn,
easy.
It's very
They have
easy.
depth, They have cohesion.
They're getting what's his face Peters back on the at left tackle. So I mean, you're getting a Pro Bowler at left tackle back. They're going to be even better than they were in the Super Bowl run. and that's kind of scary.
Yeah. All right. So now we've pretty much covered everything. I know there's tight ends, but
So
do you think that they have?
overall,
Okay. If we go to tight ends, though, is there anything that makes you think there's a definitive edge for somebody? Because I got nothing right now.
The Eagles have Zach Ertz.
Ertz, by far, Zach Ertz, he's probably a top 3 tight end.
Yeah, it's
Gronk better.
Yeah.
I'm just
What?
Gronk's better.
Yeah, well, Gronk's better than everybody. What the hell?
Yeah.
He's Gronk.
I'm having fun here. That's all. Okay, so who gets the edge for this
For offense in general,
offensive
Or
composition?
offense in general.
Who has
Yep.
the edge?
I don't know that 2 players alone sway the case for me. So I think overall offensive talent, all positions included, I'm gonna edge Philly.
Yep.
I'm gonna
I
edge
agree.
Philly, despite how I've leaned more towards the quarterback with Big Ben. But I think it's more the offensive line that seals it for me because, you know how hard it is to have a good offensive line and players who also play good when the starters are gone.
I'm just gonna be brutally honest. If Antonio Brown goes down with an injury, that team is in major trouble.
Well, you could take out either one of them, him or Bell. But let's remember, as long as Bell never faces the Bengals in the playoffs, he'll be fine.
He's good. Yeah.
Because the Bengals just love to take out Le'Veon Bell. But, you know, the Bengals, the dirty organization, despite I was like, it's a mom-and-pop organization. I don't care. The players are still dirty. But we're not talking about Ohio. No one will want to touch that rivalry. Not me.
I mean, it's not much of a rivalry.
Save that for the Around the NFL podcast. That's not my turf. Yikes. Anyway, so defense. I'll be honest, I really don't feel the need to break this down. I feel like this was the out of all 3, this is the most obvious, but we got to do it for formality's sake. Defensive line.
You don't think that defensive line for Pittsburgh can stack up to the 2018 line of Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Michael Bennett, Haloti Ngata?
Michael Bennett.
Jimmy
Hey,
Jernigan?
Michael Bennett might make you worse. But they're still too talented
Jimmy
for their own
Jernigan?
good. That's
Derek Barnett? It's all superstars.
Yep.
It's the best D-line in football, and it may
it's
not be
just-
close.
hey,
Disgusting.
you can make a case for the
Don't even
Vikings.
say-
The
the
Vikings
Vikings?
are coming, bro. Their defense is also top tier.
Philly's D-line is unrivaled until proven otherwise. They're the Antonio Brown of defensive.
Hey, you know I keep going at it all day. They
Just
got
like the Cowboys
competition.
are the Antonio Brown of offensive line.
So you can tell me they're the Dark Souls of defense.
Yeah, pretty much. And if
Oh,
you
God.
said that to them, they'd be like, "Yeah, we're called the Dark Souls. You fucking eat your kids."
All right,
Oh my
all right.
God.
Let's go to the linebacking core. I think this one's also a bit of a no-brainer, especially considering our boy what's his name, James Harrison is still gone.
Overall, I mean, to be fair, overall,
Neither
It's
team
not
has an
even-
outstanding linebacker core.
yeah.
I feel like if
Um,
James Harrison was able to play and was still top tier, I would have probably given it to the Steelers. But
Maybe.
Like-
And if,
Like, Jordan Hicks is pretty good, I guess.
there are
but
way better linebackers than him.
It's a no-name linebacker core.
yeah,
I mean, at least with the Steelers, you have T.J. Watt, you have Bud Dupree.
yeah.
Well, Bud
and-
Dupree
Bud
has a bit of an
Dupree's more
injury
a pass
history.
rusher, but-
And T.J. Watt's gonna get better.
Huh?
T.J. Watt's gonna get better.
Right, T.J. Watt's going to be really good this year. It's still a shame that they lost
Shazier. Yeah.
Ryan Shazier.
Oh, so, yeah, sorry, yeah. Why did I say James Harrison? Ryan Shazier, may God bring him back or something, because that man was robbed.
Well,
Absolutely.
I hope he's. I know he's pushing to play again, and more power to him for
I hope
wanting
for
to
his
do
sake
that.
I want him back
But
because he
I
deserved
don't-
better justice.
I don't want him to step foot on that football field again. I really
I don't. I couldn't. My stomach couldn't bear it.
I just want him to play one more game.
Nope.
I feel
nope,
like he
nope.
was wronged, but oh well. Anyway, let's go to cornerbacks. I think this one's a no-brainer.
Yeah, you got Ronald Darby. And who's the other corner on that team?
Oh.
Are we talking Eagles or
they're-
Steelers here?
Eagles.
Who's the one?
They traded for Ronald Darby last offseason.
Okay, but who's the one that knocked out Brandon Cooks?
Oh, he got traded to, or he signed with the Saints.
Oh
I forget
boy,
his name.
Malcolm Jenkins? No.
No, Jenkins? No.
Oh, he's this giant.
What the hell is his name? Patrick Robbins.
Ouch. That was still fucking brutal.
Yeah, well, fucking get got, boy.
Yep. So, I don't think there's much room for contention here. I think we all know who's the defensive mastermind.
I mean, I don't know. A past his prime Joe Hayden is always something worth keeping an eye
Oh
on.
God! Don't even bring that up again.
Hey, and they have Green Bay failure Morgan Burnett.
Oh yeah, man, I wish he was still in Green Bay.
So are we all in consensus here? Eagles get the edge in defense. They've already won this debate.
Guess what? I've written my answer for all three positions. I'll reveal my responses at the end.
You gotta
Ooh.
reveal them later, man. We gotta
Okay.
go to coach. So, but Bill, who do you have winning this? It's pretty obvious. I think you.
I mean, they legitimately just destroyed the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs, and I gotta go Philadelphia for defense. It's just it's not even fair.
It's literally not fair.
Yeah. Well, coach. Well, let's put it this way: if the Eagles hadn't won the Super Bowl, I think this would have been perhaps the hardest one to decide.
Only because Doug Peterson's the best new young head coach.
The
in
Steve
league.
Kerr of the NFL.
Plus, he has Jim Schwartz as his defensive
Fuck
coordinator.
Jim Schwartz.
Yo, you can say all you want about.
I don't
Jim
like him,
Schwartz.
but I know. He won a ring.
That man just won a goddamn ring.
I know, but I can still hate him. Just like how I'm entitled to hate the Warriors despite how good they really are.
That's fair.
I
And the Steelers lost their offensive coordinator.
Wasn't he the one that was like having scandal after scandal or whatever?
Well, him and Ben Roethlisberger just hated each other's guts. So
Well,
They did.
good riddance, I say. But I think if they were not Super Bowl champions, I think this would be very hard to determine. But considering who won, I declare a sweep. Equal sweep. It's hard to compete against a Super Bowl champion team. It's really
Right.
hard, but
I mean, here's the other thing with Mike Tomlin. He's gonna make a boneheaded move or a decision sometime in the game, like going for 2 points after touchdown,
and then blame the
Or-
Patriots, even if they're not playing. It's the Patriots'
or
fault.
try to trip someone running down the sideline and getting penalized for, etc., etc. He consistently makes mistakes, and so far Doug Peterson hasn't made any mistakes, and so therefore he's
He's a top
easy
10
decision.
coach, not a top
You guys know
5.
that Mike Munchak is on the Steelers offensive coaching?
Okay, so
Uh-oh.
we're in agreement. It's a sweep.
Oh yeah, Philly won all three for me.
Well, Philly easily.
I will tell you
the
this.
best.
It's not to say that the Steelers are a bad team. Steelers are obviously an AFC powerhouse regardless, but
I don't know how that's gonna hold this year.
it's not. It's at risk. The title, basically, they need to really defend it. Which I mean, I can see them doing it.
Ravens sneaking away with the AFC North this year.
AFC North's a bit of a joke.
I think the Ravens or the Bengals could.
Ooh, I like that take.
I feel like the
No.
Ravens are the only ones who could challenge them. But what else is new? That's how it's always been. Can't take the Bengals seriously.
Only unless the Steelers are playing them, and then they get way too serious.
And then they injure Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown.
Yeah, but it'll get Vontez out of the league.
They don't want him out of the
Right.
league. They love him.
Hits are important, guys.
Yeah, it's really hard to go
It's
against
like
the
the-
Eagles. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea, but to be honest, this was a better composition than Jets Giants.
No, it was a
I
fun matchup.
I mean, theoretically, if you look at the offense, that's where they're the closest in.
The Steelers really only have nothing but their high-octane offense potential. But then you had a team like the Jaguars say, psych! And yeah, you know the rest.
Oh, man.
But right now, I will say,
We got another prediction. That's only the first of 3. This was probably the weakest matchup of all 3 as well.
well,
That's true.
it is technically weakest on paper, but they're both playoff contending teams. Obviously, one's a Super Bowl contender, but both of them have high ceilings and high potentials.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just the Steelers have more holes. The Eagles are such a complete team. But we do have 2 more. Should I say what those 2 matchups are going to be for hype, or keep them a secret? What do you guys think?
Just keep it quiet for now.
All right then. Well, I already did mention we know what the other one is. I did say one. It was the Texas one, but that's gonna be my favorite, obviously. But the best one is the next one. Everyone's gonna love the next one. That one's spicy.
Ooh,
That
I love
one's
it.
really good.
Oh yeah, I think out of all 3, that is the closest that anyone can arguably enjoy the most. But the third one's still my favorite for
It's
biased
going-
reasons.
It's going to be very enjoyable.
Oh
one
yeah,
is gonna be
Chicken can
fun.
finally admit he's a bandwagoner to this team. I'm messing with you,
Well,
Chicken.
No.
I'm messing with you, Chicken, but
It's
just
because
admit
it's
it.
One team I love and one team I hate.
But Chicken, don't lie. You really want to see this team go all the way.
I would love it if this one team just won the Super Bowl.
Who we
this year.
talk about the Cleveland Browns, of course.
All right, yeah, we'll talk about Cleveland next time.
Yes, and how they're gonna go 16-0,
Doing that Ohio-
destroy
Baker
the
Mayfield,
Patriots.
The savior.
We're doing that Ohio matchup.
Oh yeah, Bengals,
Bengals
Browns, the
versus
best
Browns.
matchup.
Oof.
Jarvis Landry versus
I take the Bengals because they'll beat you up.
AJ Green.
I didn't mean
all
like beat
that.
you in a game. They will just beat you up.
Just go to your house and kick your ass.
Yep, Pac-Man Jones will beat your ass over a fucking drink.
Yeah, he will. He just did that, I think.
Exactly. All right, but do you guys have anything else to add to end our what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? No, I don't know. For our pilot, for the first first of many
Thanks for
episodes.
giving us a listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter.
Yep, I always link the channels and or Twitter accounts.
Yep.
So we
Exactly.
have
That
we
way
have
you
what?
can hear me ramble and get really pissed off at the Detroit Lions on Twitter.
Yes, and blame well, there's no Ed Hockley, and that's honestly the biggest crime of all this season, off season.
that's a travesty.
Yes, because we lost the one good ref.
At Skyward Shield is my man Josh here. Bill is at Test Sample Man. And I am Bill the Fajita.
What makes it confusing is Bill on YouTube is highly irritated.
I used to be.
Uh-oh. What happened, Mr. Bill?
Switch channels. That's what happened.
Got him. Yeah, and I don't really use my YouTube channel either, so I'm pretty much just, I'm just Bill the Fajita now.
Oh.
Indeed.
Oh well. Anyway, I think that'll do it, unless you guys have anything else you want to add, because, I think this was fun. And I can't wait to cover next week's matchup. I wish it were next week already. Or actually, I don't even know what the right order of these will be. I could upload them all at once, or like in
You're
between.
a psychopath.
Yeah, I don't know. I could upload them once a week, once every 2 weeks. I don't know.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's maybe film one or two.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Get too antsy.
No, I mean like for that, because once we get to the regular season, it's weekly, because you got to keep up with the times. Football goes by very quickly.
Indeed. But the outro does not.
Yeah, it ends when I.
Guys, stop listening to this podcast. We're done.
No, I need money.
What?
No, I can't
Why,
monetize
man?
this.
How dare you shill on this big pick?
I'm a
podcast?
sellout. It's the life of a YouTuber.
Brought to you by
It's the life of a YouTuber. You sell out.
I swear to God, if you make a penny off of this, I'll be disappointed.
If I make 3 pennies, I'll give you each one.
I want you to mail me a penny.
Exactly, that's the plan.
And if it comes out to a half a penny, you saw
Hey,
that son of a
getting
bitch in half.
sponsorship deals wouldn't be a bad thing at all.
Oh, I'll take 60 grand. Of
I'll
freaking
sponsor SeatGeek.
I'll sponsor gasoline. I use that a lot. Hey, gasoline.
Oh no, you
sponsor
want to
us?
get
I
paid
drive
by
my car.
propane and propane accessories. God damn it!
Exxon Mobil.
Remember
where
the
you
big
at?
chicken, as you know, the big fish is Dick's Sporting Goods.
Oh baby, big picks with big dicks.
Oh no,
Oh.
stop that. I'm ending this recording right now. We'll see you guys next time for the next interstate rivalry and the Lions record prediction.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls.